Well, I'm sure by now all candidates who wrote for the May exam have received their email from CFAI letting them know what date the results will be released on. Level 1, July 27th, which is 19 days from now. Level 2, August 3rd, which is 26 days from now. And Level 3, August 10th, which is 33 days from now. The question that seems to be floating around a lot is, why is it taking so long? I don't have an answer for you. When I was first told, we as prep providers, we don't get this information. We hear it from other candidates. So I heard it from a number of different sources today at all three levels when the release date was. And our reaction on this side was, that's a long time. I don't really know. But whenever you have a situation like this, you sort of just say, well, what are the possible scenarios? Let's run through some scenarios that make sense. The first one that you just throw out is the conspiracy theory that, they're doing this, it's about money, they don't care about the candidates, they're screwing them over just to enrich themselves. You just throw that one out. Clearly it's not that. As much as it's comforting sometimes to think that way, to have someone to blame for this kind of stuff, it's not that. So here's a couple scenarios I have, and it's just me hypothesizing. That's all. It's no secret that there's pretty much a labor shortage everywhere you go. I'm having work done, an addition put on my house. I'm having a pool put in and some things built. Well, the date keeps getting extended and extended because the major contractor is telling me that the subcontractors sometimes just can't find people to come out. They're overbooked. They can't, even though they're trying to hire, they can't get enough people. There is a couple of jobs down the street. There's 3 new houses being built. Nothing has happened on them for 4 or 5 weeks. Can't get windows or doors because the window and door companies can't find people to make windows and doors. So it's no secret that there is, a labor shortage for, I think 2 big reasons. Reason number 1, quite a few people are still being paid to stay at home. Reason number 2, probably the more logical reason for a lot of supply chains, is that there are people who just don't want to take the risk of going into a place where there are other people and getting sick and bringing it home. They just don't want to take that risk, so they're just staying home. Well, CFAI is not immune to this, and they do use an outside third party to verify the results of the exam, to statistically verify the results. So they do rely on suppliers as well. So it could be that, with all of the bottlenecks in the labor shortage at different companies, maybe they just couldn't get it done in the timeline that they wanted to. That's theory number 1. And again, I don't know anything. I'm just hypothesizing here. The second hypothesis would be that by moving the exam date, the deadline for November, from August 10th all the way to July 20th, that to me seems like, I think what they're trying to do is push as many people into 2022 as possible. So if you move that date up to the 20th and then you slowly release the dates, you push the dates of the release back a bit, you might gently nudge a number of candidates into 2022, because by the time they get the results, for level 2, if you get your results in August, you might reason that 3.5 months to get ready for level 3 is not enough. I may as well register for May. Same with level 1. You might just sort of say, look, with the amount of time to prepare for November, I may as well just take it in February. They may be doing that because there is probably a not insignificant probability that there may be another wave of COVID into the fall, and the fewer people that would be affected by that, the better. And so it could be that, we won't restrict you from registering for November, but we'll hint very strongly based on the timeline that maybe 2022 is something you want to look at, just so that we can minimize the impact or any potential impact of another wave in the fall. And when I think that one through, I think, well, that sounds more logical, because to do that, I'd probably move up the date of registration for November from August 10th to July 20th to really minimize the number of people that would register for November. Delay the results for as long as I can to sort of give you that implicit nudge into 2022. And if you really want to register for November, they are going to let you register for November. And at first I thought, well, what if it was split? What if they said, if you failed, you can register for November, but if you pass, you cannot register for November? And I thought, well, no, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that. I could be wrong. Again, this is just me theorizing. It's me trying to come up with a reason of why computer-based results would end up taking a week to 2 weeks longer than if they were on paper. And so I'm just coming up with ideas of why it would take so long. So perhaps it's probably a gentle nudge into 2022 to minimize the impact on you and to also minimize the discomfort, I think, that they go through when they have to inform a number of candidates that another center is canceled. It's not easy on them either. They're human beings. They're not all in some back room smoking cigars and twisting their mustaches trying to figure out how to get one over on you, how to fleece you down for as much as they can. That's not what's going on. So you have to look for something more logical, something that fits a more friendlier narrative. I think it's one of those two things. You can take it for what it is. What do we do? So let's look at some options that we have available. Given the amount of days that you still have to wait, or at least the amount of days you'd give up by waiting, what can you do during that period of time? In the description box below, I'm going to leave a link for the level 1 readings and the level 2 readings that sort of support the next level. So you can review the level 1 readings that support level 2, so that when you do hit level 2 and you start on level 2, the readings that support level 2, which are, tend to be more difficult, you'll already have a very good foundation if you didn't already have that. Same at level 2 for those that are going to migrate up to level 3. There are readings at level 1 and level 2 that support level 3. You may want to review those. If you wrote your level 3, well, all you can really do is wait, because there's nothing left. I mean, if you pass, great. If you don't pass, well, you're going to make another run for November. You're going to have the same content. Yeah, I think that you kind of know there's I think a significant group that really knows that they passed. There's a significant group that probably knows that they failed. And then there's that middle group that says, well, I really don't know. Option 2, if you are planning a November attempt, if you're saying, look, when the results are out, if I pass, I'm hitting November, period. If you can. For level 1, start a section at level 2 that feeds back on level 1. You have 19 days. You can knock out a whole section in 19 days, so when the results are released, you're one section ahead. Why wait 19 days for that to come out? Knock a section out. Corporate finance, that's super, super easy. No one really has difficulty at corporate finance, and it feeds back on level 1 so that if you do fail level 1 and you have to retake it, at least the work you did at level 2 feeds back on level 1. Derivatives will help you out at level 1. If you understand level 2 derivatives, level 1 is a cakewalk. But the derivatives readings, the 2 that are there's only 2. It's hard. They are more challenging. Or you could just knock out one of the longest sections, which is equity. Not hard. Not hard at all. It's just really long. It's one whole book unto itself, like 600-700 pages. If you've written level 2 and you're moving to level 3, you can start a section at level 3 that feeds back on level 2. It's not as neat and tidy as it is with level 2. That there are some readings at level 2 that really will feed back to level 1. Not as neat and tidy. The closest ones are book 3 and book 6 if you are looking at the 2021 content. If you're thinking about 2022, the level 3 2022 content cannot be released until July 20th. So there is no option to start early. But if you're taking it in May, you got lots of time. You can afford to wait the 26 days and you still have lots of time to next May. That still gives you 10 months. No need to start now. But if you are going to make a run for November, maybe pick up book 3 or book 6. Book 3 has asset allocation, has 2 readings on derivative strategies, and 1 reading on currency management. These, even though it's more about the portfolio management of derivatives and currencies, will help you. It does feed back on level 2 somewhat. Book 6 has institutional investors, and it has performance evaluation. It has trading and execution strategies and manager selection. 2 of the readings feed back on some of the readings at level 2 portfolio management, and that's about it. It's not as neat and tidy because level 2 is really about valuation. Level 3 is really about portfolio management. It doesn't feed back as well as we would like it to. Level 3, you just wait. That's all you can do. Notice the consistency in what you have to do, right? You just have to wait and enjoy yourself if you can. Okay, next screen. Okay, this is sort of a flow chart for level 1, 2, and 3 about what the possible outcomes are and what your choices are. So I put, do not, if you don't pass, I just put an F if you don't pass. Clearly you're going to make a run for November, level 1, level 2, and level 3. You're going to make a run for November. It's the same content. Why risk going into 2022 and, a number of readings are different all of a sudden? It's the same content, and you're not going to need 6 months because you're already at least halfway there, depending on what score you got. You're already halfway there. You don't need 6 more months. You're going to make a run for November, so that if you don't make it, you can make a run for November. My best guess as to the number of people who wrote in May, I'm thinking top line number would have been over 200,000, but a whole bunch of places were canceled. So I think it was probably somewhere between 150 and 175,000 that wrote. If we have a weighted average across the 3 levels of, let's say, 50% pass, 50% did not pass, that's some 75 to 80,000, 75 to 85,000 that will probably make a run for November, on top of everyone that's already registered for November. So my thinking is, the second theory I had that, try to nudge as many people into 2022 as they can probably makes a lot more sense, because if you did fail, you're probably more likely to take November. And if you did pass, well, if we, squeeze the amount of time that you have left to a small amount, maybe you'll take 2022, please. I think that might be what's going on. If it were me, and that's the strategy that I wanted to follow, I don't know that I would do it that way other than just announce it. Say, hey, please, if you can at all see your way clear to take it in 2022, for those of you who passed, it would help us out and help the community out dramatically. I would at least ask and then beg. But, I don't know. Anyways, you'll make a run for November. I don't see why you would need more time and why you would want to introduce yourself to new content at this point in time. You're going to make a run for November. So that takes care of that. If you've passed, let's start with level 3. You're done. It's over. All you have to do is, do your time, your 3 years that you need to do. Submit your work statement and, get those 3 shiny new letters. For level 1, if you did pass, you have a choice of November for level 2 or February for level 2. And if you pass that, if you pass in November, you can get level 3 done by May, or you can get level 3 done by November. I seem to think that this probably is a nice place to go. It gives you 3 more months to prepare for level 2, because if you don't make level 2 in November, you can't take it till August. Because you can't take February, you can't do concurrent windows, you can't do February, and there is no May level 2, which pushes you all the way to August. So if you try to squeeze it in for November, 3.5, 4, even if you start now, maybe 4 months, you try to squeeze it in for November and you don't make it, then you're all the way to next August. And if you pass next August, then you're all the way to the following May for level 3. Here, you give yourself plenty of time. Maximize your probability of passing. Take the February level 2. And if you get through that, you've got a nice long period of time to prepare for November for level 3. This is probably the highest probability in terms of time being your friend and what time can do for you for level 1. So this one here, I would strongly recommend the February exam. What's the difference between finishing in May and finishing in November, right? For level 2. If you pass, you can write your level 3 in November or your level 3 in May. If you write level 3 in November and you don't make it, you still write level 3 in May. Time is short. If you're going to wait the 26 days before you start, time is short for level 3 for November. So you run the risk of maybe having to write again for May. Not only that, it's cheaper if you write in May than if you write in November. Same with level 1. It's going to be cheaper if you write in February than in November. I think it's still the $700 fee as opposed to the $1,000 fee. But I mean, it's your call. Some of you may have already been preparing for level 3. Because some of you, many of you, were already deferred for how long? You probably are, 3-4 topics deep into the next level, anyways. So maybe you are, prepared for November. That's fine. And if you are going to make a run for November, I would not sit by and wait for the results to be out. I would be proactive and move forward on that. If you make a run for November and you don't make it, you're at May anyways. If you do make a run for November and you get it, you're done. But if you just take May, well, take a couple of months off. You have the time. You have the luxury of time at that point after everything that you've been through. You avoid the possibility of another wave for November perhaps messing you up yet again and pushing you into May anyways. You take May, you probably got a high probability that you'll get it, that you'll show up, write it, and get it done, and you're giving yourself the luxury of time. So my thinking is, aligning again with the theory that I have of why it's late. That there are two options. There is you did not pass and you passed. If you did not pass, I see no reason why you would not take November. And if you did pass, I would seriously consider 2022. It makes a lot more sense given the amount of time that you have available. It makes a lot more sense given the very real possibility that this is not over, that we're going to see, especially when the Northern Hemisphere winter season comes back. I think you're going to see this thing, spread again. There'll be another wave again. I can't see why there wouldn't. Which means you run the very real risk that, November would be canceled on you anyways. Enjoy your summer. If you book for 2022, at least you know that you can, look, I'm going to enjoy August. I'm going to enjoy the rest of July and August and, wait for the results to come out. But I seem to think that this is probably a good strategy to follow. And, that's it. So good luck to everybody when these results do come out, and we'll see.